This is Frankie Lynch, Saturn Girl. Please, please, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. It really helps with the algorithm, and I'm trying to make this a thing. But I wanted to talk about a specific transit. You see, Venus in Cancer will be perfecting her trine to Saturn in Pisces tomorrow. Well, what does this mean for us? Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about what it means, archetypally and symbolically, and then perhaps a few historical events or recent events that correlate with this transit, and then what it may mean for you. So let's look at a couple things here now, shall we? Well, first of all, Venus. What is she? Well, she's my mama, but she's also beauty and enjoyment. What's Saturn? Well, first of all, he's my daddy, but he's also boundaries and organization. So a key phrase that I thought about with this transit was ordered and regulated enjoyment. Let's look at a couple examples of how this can manifest. Well, look really quickly right here. You see Venus right here, 6 degrees Cancer, and she will be perfecting that trine to Saturn here, 6 degrees Pisces. Okay. Well, the last time this happened in the same signs was July of 1995, which, interestingly enough, was around the time of the 28th San Diego Comic-Con. It's near and dear to my heart because I'm from San Diego. And the Comic Convention is a really good example of this transit because it is veritably ordered enjoyment. I mean, I know when I went, everything was very, you had to go through lines and wait your turn for everything. It wasn't a chaotic thing. Although I hear it's been getting more and more chaotic over the years, but I wouldn't know because I can't afford to go anymore. So anyway, but let's move on, shall we? Another thing that happened was the production of Hamlet. And this is another wonderful artsy thing. Venus rules the arts. She rules beauty. She rules music and aesthetic. So it was quite fitting that the production of Hamlet over here at the Belasco Theater in New York, it ended after 121 performances. So it's almost literally like Saturn was putting his boundary around that performance. Another thing that happened that was quite important, the Hale-Bopp comet was discovered during this transit. It became visible about a year later. This is really sort of a Saturnian Venusian thing to me because, well, first of all, Saturn rules things from obscurity, from exile. And it's like this rock. Saturn also rules stone. This rock just appeared out of the abyss. And it was beautiful. Venusian. Yes? Well, what else happened? 1965, same signs again. This is the great one. Speaking of Saturn, Bob Dylan recorded the song Like a Rolling Stone. Like a Rolling Stone. Sorry, I can't do a very good Bob Dylan. But the interesting thing about that is it's, well, surprise, surprise, but it's #1 on Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. It's funny to me because Saturn rules stone, as we just said. Saturn rules stone. So, and it's a song. Venus rules music, right? It's a trine together. We brought those two things, stone and music, and well, I shouldn't talk about stoned and music, should I? Anyway. Oh, another cool thing that happened involving music was the Kinks, the famous British pop band from, what was that, the 1960s, I guess? Oh, duh, we're talking about 1965. They started their first tour over in the United States around this time. So that was pretty cool. Another thing that's interesting about this is the more recent occurrence of this coincided with one of Elton John's farewell tours, the North America leg of it. Well, what else here? We got just a couple more things. Oh, this is very interesting. The U.S. Senate approved the Federal Cigarette Labeling and Advertising Act. That was the law that required cigarette companies to put warning labels on every little pack. warning you about the health risks to smoking. So, and what is that? Venus's enjoyment, including smoking. And Saturn orders that and regulates it. So therefore, we regulated Venusian enjoyment there once again. One other cool thing I thought, of just mentioning, the US House of Representatives voted to establish the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The reason why I thought this was important was because, well, first of all, most people spend most of their leisure time around the home. So when we organize housing and urban development, we're not only arranging people's personal lives, but also the potential for their leisure time and enjoyment. So it was interesting to me that this was the first time we thought about having a hand in that from the state. Well, what's going to happen this time? The interesting thing to note is that Title 42 is ending. Well, what's Title 42? So that was a Trump era regulation due to COVID that basically turned away asylum seekers from the border. And the reason is because we had a pandemic going on. And so they cited a national health crisis as the reasoning. But now that's expiring. And Biden has been very concerned, or the administration, this isn't a political thing here, this is just news. And they were concerned about an influx of asylum seekers. So they sent National Guard and active duty troops down to the border, apparently. So once again, this is there was a Venusian release of a restriction with the expiration of Title 42, right? But then there's this other Saturnian limitation put on it where it's like, no, you can't come in. So you see, I'm not trying to make it a political thing, but that's just one interesting potential event going on here. But keep your eyes peeled for things involving, exhibitions, concerts, conferences, things with ordered enjoyment or ordered or organized artistic expression, you see? So that's why I say like shows, hobbies, fairs, projects, decorations, beautiful work, craftsmanship. That's a wonderful phrase for this, craftsmanship. So, well, what does this mean for you personally? Well, it's a great time to work on aesthetic projects. Like if you're decorating your house, because Saturn gives you the impetus to see things through. We often start projects and we don't finish. I know that very well because I'm a Gemini. This is a wonderful time for you to bring in some of that discipline and consistency from Saturn to a Venusian project, something that takes beauty, something that catches your eye, something that takes your creative spirit and bringing it into fruition. For me, I've been organizing my chaotic space, so bringing some Saturnian energy to my typically Venusian nature. So anyway, I hope this was interesting for you. It's just a little brief exposition. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also I do wonderful readings. You can email me. All my information is below. And please consider donating to my Patreon because I want to keep making wonderful content for you and all your little friends. So you have a wonderful whatever you're having. Let's turn this up.